First contact surprise. The Varaxian pirates had a saying, "Easy prey bleeds the sweetest." For centuries, this philosophy had served them well as they preyed upon the shipping lanes of the lesser spiral arm. Their current target, a bulky human cargo vessel designated Star Wanderer, seemed to epitomize this principle. Its ungainly form lumbered through space like a wounded beast, its hull marked with obvious repair patches and outdated propulsion systems. Captain Zextal of the Varaxian flagship Crimson Talon almost felt embarrassed targeting such primitive technology. Humans were newcomers to the galactic stage, barely 2 centuries into faster-than-light travel. Their ships still used rudimentary fusion drives, while most species had moved to quantum slipstream propulsion millennia ago. "Begin the standard approach," Zextal commanded, their crystalline teeth glinting in the command center's violet lighting. "Disable their communications first. Let's not have them crying to their government before we've claimed our prize." The pirate fleet moved with practiced precision, 3 sleek, predatory vessels arranging themselves in a triangle formation around their target. Their gunners took aim at the human vessel's communications array, preparing to fire the first shots of what should be a routine raid. That's when everything changed. The Star Wanderer suddenly ceased all movement. Not a gradual stop, but an impossible instant halt that defied the laws of physics. Before the pirates could react, their target simply disappeared. "Scanning," shouted the sensor officer, their tentacles writhing in confusion. "No trace. It's as if." Behind us, another crew member screamed. The human vessel had somehow materialized directly behind the pirate fleet, but it was different now. Its hull was shifting, plates of metal flowing like liquid mercury, reforming into something else entirely. The patches and signs of wear vanished, revealing gleaming surfaces that seemed to drink in light itself. "Impossible," Zextal whispered. "No species has achieved metamorphic hull technology. The energy requirements alone." "Captain, we're being hailed." A holographic figure materialized on the Crimson Talon's bridge, a human female wearing what appeared to be a simple gray uniform. Her expression was neither threatening nor afraid, simply patient. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force vessel Star Wanderer," she announced calmly. "I apologize for the deception, but we've been tracking your fleet's activities for some time. Consider this a formal notice. The Greater Council has designated this sector as protected space. Your previous hunting grounds are now under human jurisdiction." Zextal's secondary heart began pounding. "You dare threaten the Varaxian corsairs? We've ruled these lanes since before your species discovered fire. Our weapons are currently non-functional," Chen interrupted, her hologram flickering slightly. "About 30 seconds ago, to be precise. You may check." The pirate captain's blood ran cold as frantic reports confirmed her words. Every weapon system aboard all 3 pirate vessels had been silently disabled. No alarms, no warnings, no signs of tampering. They simply wouldn't respond. "How?" Zextal demanded, their pride crumbling under growing fear. Ken's expression softened slightly. "You're asking the wrong question, Captain. The real question is, why are we choosing this moment to reveal ourselves? The answer to that might interest you far more than our technical capabilities." The human captain's hologram stepped forward, and somehow the simple movement carried more menace than any weapon could convey. "There's something coming, Captain Zextal. Something that threatens every species in this galaxy, pirates included. We've spent 2 centuries appearing primitive while preparing for it. Now we need allies, even reformed pirates, not enemies." She gestured, and suddenly the pirates' view screens filled with data, readings from the galactic core that made no sense, patterns that shouldn't exist, and energy signatures that defied known physics. "You have 2 options," Chen continued. "Surrender now and join us in defending against what's coming, or try to run. But I should mention, what you're seeing isn't our true form either. The Star Wanderer is just our scout-class vessel." As if to emphasize her point, space itself seemed to ripple behind the transformed human ship. Through tears in reality that shouldn't exist, Zextal caught glimpses of something vast, something that made their mighty pirate fleet look like toys in comparison. The Viraxian captain had raided ships for over 3 centuries. They had faced down battle cruisers and defense fleets. They had never known true fear until this moment. Not fear of the human ship's weapons or capabilities, but fear of what could make such an advanced species act so cautiously for so long. What? Zextal's voice cracked. What is coming? Captain Chen's hologram smiled, but it wasn't a pleasant expression. That's a conversation we should have in person. I think you'll find that humanity makes a far better ally than enemy. After all, we've managed to fool the entire galaxy into thinking we were harmless for 200 years. Imagine what we can accomplish together when we stop pretending. The message was clear. The galaxy was changing. The humans hadn't revealed themselves out of weakness or desperation, but because whatever threat they'd prepared for was worse than exposing their true capabilities. As Zextal looked at their crew's terrified faces, they realized their old saying needed revision. Sometimes the easiest prey wasn't prey at all. It was a predator in disguise, waiting for the right moment to show its teeth. And humanity, it seemed, had been waiting for a very long time indeed. The Hidden Fleet. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council had never been so crowded. Representatives from over 300 species packed the massive chamber, their murmurs creating a symphony of different languages as they waited. The recent revelation of humanity's true technological capabilities had sent shockwaves through the galaxy's political landscape. High Counselor Vexera of the Artemisian Collective stood at the central podium, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with barely contained anxiety. Beside her, the newly captured Viraxian pirate captain, Zextal, shifted uncomfortably, still struggling to process everything they had learned in the past week. The chamber fell silent as Admiral James Chen stepped onto the speaking platform. He wore the same deceptively simple gray uniform as his daughter Sarah, the captain who had revealed humanity's first cards in this galaxy-changing game. Honorable representatives, Chen began, his voice carrying clearly through the vast space. For 2 centuries, you have known humanity as the young, struggling species that barely managed faster than light travel. That image was a carefully crafted illusion, and today I will explain why. The Admiral gestured, and the hall's holographic systems came to life. But instead of using the Council's standard projection technology, the entire chamber transformed. Suddenly, every being present found themselves seemingly floating in space, surrounded by stars and swirling nebulae. Impressive theatrics called out Ambassador K'tal of the Mechanoid Consensus, their cybernetic voice carrying a note of skepticism. But we're here for explanations, not demonstrations. Chen nodded, watched the galactic core. The cosmic visualization zoomed in on the galaxy center, and collective gasps filled the chamber. Within the usual swirl of stars and radiation, something moved. Dark shapes, barely visible, shifting like oil through water. We detected them during our first experiments with quantum observation technology 200 years ago, Chen continued. At first, we thought our instruments were malfunctioning. But as we developed better detection methods, we realized what we were seeing. Beings that exist primarily in dark matter, slowly but steadily expanding their influence from the galactic core. The visualization showed the dark matter entities spreading outward like ink through water, consuming normal matter in their path. Stars didn't explode or die. They simply ceased to exist, converted into something that normal space couldn't comprehend. Why didn't you share this information? Demanded Vexera, her patterns flashing with indignation. Because panic would have been inevitable, Chen replied calmly. And because we needed time. Time to develop technologies that could fight an enemy that exists largely outside our understanding of physics. Time to build a fleet that could face this threat. Time to perfect our methods without drawing the attention of these entities. The holographic display shifted again, revealing something that drew even more gasps from the assembled representatives. Hidden in plain sight throughout human space were massive shipyards, concealed within artificially generated pocket dimensions. Vessels unlike anything the galaxy had seen before moved through these secret spaces, ships that could alter their form at will, vessels that could step sideways through reality, weapons that could affect dark matter itself. The Star Wanderer, which encountered the Viraxian fleet, is our smallest class of vessel, Chen explained. What you're seeing now are our actual warships. We call them the Prometheus class, ships capable of rewriting the local laws of physics within their sphere of influence. He turned to face the assembled representatives directly. We've tracked the dark matter entity's expansion. At their current rate, they will reach the outer spiral arms within 5 years. We chose this moment to reveal ourselves because we need allies. Our technology can fight them, but we don't have the numbers to protect the entire galaxy alone. The chamber erupted in overlapping questions and demands, but Zextel's voice cut through the chaos. "Show them what you showed me," the former pirate captain called out. "Show them what happens when these things reach an inhabited system." Admiral Chen's expression grew grim. The holographic display shifted one final time, showing a star system at the edge of the galactic core. The assembled representatives watched in horror as dark matter entities moved through the system. Planets didn't shatter or explode. They simply ceased to be, along with every living thing on them, converted into something that registered only as absence on normal sensors. "We've spent 2 centuries preparing for this fight," Chen continued into the stunned silence. "Every apparent weakness in our technology was carefully crafted misdirection. Every seemingly primitive design choice concealed quantum-level innovations. We needed to appear harmless not just to you, but to them. And now we need your help." The Admiral's voice took on a passionate intensity. "Humanity stands ready to share everything we've developed. Our metamorphic hull technology, our quantum phase drives, our dark matter disruption systems. But we need your industrial capacity, your resources, your unique perspectives and innovations. The galaxy faces extinction not through violence, but through conversion into something we can barely comprehend. We have the weapons, but we need you to help us forge them on a scale that can save everyone." High Counselor Vexera stepped forward, her bioluminescence now pulsing with determination rather than anxiety. "You speak of sharing technology that goes beyond anything we thought possible. How can we be certain you'll honor such promises?" Chen smiled. "Because we already have." He gestured, and data streams appeared before every representative. "These are the complete technical specifications for everything we've developed, transmitted to your secure databases as I speak. We're not asking for your trust. We're earning it." The chamber fell silent as representatives began reviewing the data, their expressions ranging from shock to awe as they realized the true scope of human innovation. Humanity hadn't just been hiding their capabilities. They'd been silently preparing to defend a galaxy that had dismissed them as primitive. The age of deception was over. The age of preparation was ending. And as the representatives of 300 species studied the technical marvels humanity had kept hidden for 2 centuries, a new age was beginning, one where humanity's greatest trick would be revealed. They had never been the galaxy's weakest species, but its secret guardians, waiting for the right moment to show their true strength. Dark matter rising. The Rigel 7 colony didn't look like humanity's first line of defense against an incomprehensible threat. Its 3 million inhabitants went about their daily lives beneath vast atmospheric domes, the planet's harsh orange sun casting long shadows across terraformed gardens and bustling marketplaces. But beneath this peaceful surface, the entire colony was a weapon, waiting to be unleashed. Dr. Maya Patel stood in the colony's quantum observation center, watching dark matter readings from the system's outer edges. After 2 centuries of waiting, the enemy had finally arrived. She fought to keep her hand steady as she initiated the colony-wide alert sequence. "All citizens, please proceed to your designated security zones," she announced, her voice echoing through every corner of the colony. "This is not a drill." Repeat, "This is not a drill." The colony's response was immediate but orderly. Unlike most of the galaxy, these people had grown up knowing the truth. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. Through the quantum sensors, Maya watched the dark matter entities approach. Vast, shifting forms that existed primarily in dimensions humanity had only recently learned to perceive. They moved like oil through water, their very presence warping the fabric of space-time. "Defense fleet, you are cleared to engage," she commanded. The colony's hidden shipyards opened, revealing vessels that had masqueraded as orbital debris and abandoned mining platforms. Leading them was the CSS Prometheus, humanity's first true dark matter combat vessel, under the command of Captain Sarah Chen. Initiating primary defense sequence, Chen's voice came through clearly. "Dr. Patel, begin colony transformation on my mark." Maya's fingers flew across her console, preparing the colony's most closely guarded secret. Every building, every street, every seemingly ordinary structure had been constructed with metamorphic materials. The entire colony was about to reveal its true form. The dark matter entities accelerated toward the planet, probably expecting to convert it and its inhabitants as easily as they had countless others. They were about to learn why humanity had chosen this particular moment and place for their first stand. Mark. Maya activated the transformation sequence. The colony's domes split apart like blooming flowers. Buildings shifted and flowed, their true forms emerging from carefully maintained disguises. Within minutes, the entire colony had transformed into a vast geometric array, a quantum resonance amplifier powerful enough to affect dark matter itself. In orbit, the defense fleet took formation around the transformed colony. The ships began generating overlapping fields of quantum distortion, creating a complex pattern of intersecting energies that the dark matter entities couldn't simply pass through. "They're responding," Maya reported, watching the quantum sensors. "Pattern matches our simulations. They're trying to alter their quantum state to bypass the interference." "Just as we predicted," Chen replied. "All ships, initiate resonance sequence Delta. Dr. Patel, prepare for full power channeling." The dark matter entities surged forward, their impossible forms rippling with what might have been anger or confusion. For the first time in their long existence, they were facing prey that understood what they were, how they moved, how they thought. Maya watched the sensor readings spike as the entities attempted to convert the outer edges of their defense perimeter. But where their dark matter influence touched the quantum interference fields, it found not simple physical matter to convert, but a complex web of energy that pushed back. "Energy conversion holding at 60%, Maya announced. "We're containing their conversion attempt and feeding it back into our defensive grid. Colony resonance array is amplifying fleet output by factor of 10 and climbing." Through the observation windows, the space around Rigel 7 had become a battlefield unlike anything in galactic history. Light bent and warped as normal space collided with dark matter influences. The human ships danced through impossible geometries, their metamorphic hulls constantly shifting to maintain optimal resonance patterns. "They're pulling back," Chen reported, a note of fierce satisfaction in her voice. "They've never failed to convert a target before. They don't know how to handle resistance." But Maya's sensors told a different story. "Captain, they're not retreating. They're combining. Multiple entities merging into a single mass. Power readings are off the scale." The dark matter entities had merged into a vast, writhing darkness that defied description. It struck at their defenses with renewed force, and this time the quantum interference fields buckled under the assault. "Resonance grid failing in sectors 7 through 12, Maya reported, her heart racing. "Colony array power output dropping. All ships, execute Protocol Omega," Chen commanded. "Demonstrate humanity's final surprise." Maya watched in awe as the defense fleet began their own transformation. Ships merged with each other, linking into larger and larger structures until they formed a vast geometric pattern around the colony. The combined vessel dwarfed anything humanity had publicly revealed, its metamorphic hull flowing like liquid mathematics. "Colony array, prepare to receive template." Chen's voice was steady despite the unprecedented maneuver they were attempting, initiating full quantum sync between fleet and colony systems. Maya's hands flew across her console, linking the colony's vast resonance array with the combined fleet's power grid. Energy readings surged beyond anything their simulations had predicted. The merged dark matter entity struck again, but this time, their defenses didn't just resist the conversion attempt. They reversed it. The quantum resonance field reached into the dark matter entity's structure and began converting it into normal space matter. The entity recoiled, trying to separate back into its component parts, but the combined power of fleet and colony held it together, forcing it to experience the very conversion it had inflicted on so many others. Through her sensors, Maya watched in fascination as the entity's dark matter form collapsed into normal space. Within moments, it had been reduced to a swirling cloud of ordinary matter, still complex and strange, but no longer able to exist outside normal physics. "Defense grid holding," she reported, barely able to believe the readings. "Conversion complete in affected space. We did it. The defense worked." But Captain Chen's response was grim. "This was just their advance force, Doctor. A test of our capabilities. Now they know we can hurt them. And the real battle is about to begin." As if to confirm her words, Maya's long-range sensors lit up with new contacts. More dark matter entities were entering the system, dozens of them, larger than the first group. Humanity had won their first battle against an impossible enemy, but the war for galactic survival was just beginning. And somewhere in the dark between stars, the entities were learning, adapting, preparing to face this first species that dared to fight back against the darkness. The symphony of war. In the 3 months since the Battle of Rigel 7, the galaxy had transformed. The vast shipyards of the mechanoid consensus hummed with activity as they integrated human quantum resonance technology into their vessels. The crystalline beings of the Tyre-Kali collective had discovered that their natural lattice structures could amplify dark matter disruption fields beyond even human capabilities. And the former Viraxian pirates, led by Captain Zextel, had turned their predatory skills toward hunting dark matter entities. Aboard the newly commissioned Galactic Defense Force flagship Unity, Admiral James Chen watched tactical displays showing the combined fleet's preparations. The vessel itself was a testament to interspecies cooperation. Its quantum core designed by humans, its metamorphic hull enhanced by Tyre-Kali crystals, its sensor arrays a marvel of mechanoid engineering. "Admiral," a synthetic voice called out. "The entity swarm has altered course again. They're adapting to our defensive formations faster than predicted." Chen turned to face Kittel, the mechanoid tactical officer. The cybernetic being's neural interfaces connected directly with the ship's systems, processing battlefield data at speeds that would overwhelm organic minds. "They're learning," Chen nodded. "Every engagement teaches them more about how we fight. We need to change the game again." The tactical display showed the current situation. After Rigel 7, the dark matter entities had begun moving in smaller groups, making it harder to trap them in conversion fields. They'd also developed ways to shield themselves against quantum resonance attacks, requiring more power to break through their defenses. "New contact," Tal announced. "Massive dark matter signature emerging from slip space. Configuration unlike anything previously encountered." The main view screen shifted, showing their new opponent. It was vast, easily the size of a small moon, but that wasn't what made Chen's blood run cold. The entity had somehow merged dark matter and normal space into a hybrid form that their sensors could barely comprehend. "All ships, battle formation Delta," Chen commanded. "Prepare for." The entity struck first. A wave of dark energy rippled through space, affecting both normal matter and the quantum fields they used for defense. Ships in the outer defense ring began to lose cohesion as their metamorphic hulls struggled to maintain form. Multiple ships reporting critical hull destabilization, Kutal reported. The entity is somehow interfering with the quantum matrices controlling our metamorphic systems. Chen's mind raced. The enemy had learned to target their technology's fundamental principles, but in doing so, they'd revealed something crucial about themselves. "They're thinking like us now," he muttered, "fighting fire with fire." Then louder, "All ships, initiate protocol harmony." This was the riskiest strategy they'd developed, one that relied on principles that seemed more like music than warfare. Each ship in the fleet began generating quantum resonance fields at slightly different frequencies, creating a complex interference pattern. "Mechanoid ships, focus on prime number frequencies," Chen ordered. "Tire-killer vessels, maintain crystalline harmonic sequence. Human ships, prepare for recursive field generation." The entity struck again, its hybrid energy wave rolling toward their fleet. But this time, instead of trying to resist or counter it directly, their ships' overlapping fields created a quantum symphony, layers of resonance that turned the enemy's attack back on itself. "Energy pattern is achieving metachronal resonance," Catal announced, their synthetic voice carrying a note of what might have been excitement. "The entity's hybrid form is becoming unstable." Chen watched as their strategy took effect. The entity's careful merger of dark and normal matter began to unravel as the fleet's quantum harmonics forced it to resonate at frequencies it couldn't sustain. But instead of trying to destroy it, they were doing something far more interesting. "All ships, shift to conversion frequency," he commanded. "Let's show them what real adaptation looks like." The combined fleet's resonance pattern changed subtly. Rather than tearing the entity apart, they began to guide its unraveling, showing it a new way to exist. The impossible hybrid of dark and normal matter didn't vanish or explode, it transformed. "Quantum state stabilizing," Catal reported. "Entity structure is reorganizing itself." "Admiral, I believe we're witnessing voluntary conversion." The moon-sized entity's form shifted one final time, its structure settling into a stable pattern that existed primarily in normal space while retaining some dark matter properties. It was still massive, still powerful, but no longer a threat to reality itself. "Entity is attempting to communicate," Catal announced suddenly, converting quantum oscillations to standard frequencies. "Admiral, I think it's asking why we didn't destroy it." Chen smiled. "Open a channel." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "We don't seek your destruction. We seek understanding. You've shown us you can adapt to fight us. We're showing you that you can adapt to join us." The entity's response came as patterns of quantum vibration that Kittel translated. "Purpose is conversion. Always conversion. But new form offers new understanding, new possibilities." "That's right," Chen replied. "Your species converts matter to survive. We're offering you a way to survive without destroying others. A harmony instead of a war." The entity's form rippled in what might have been consideration. "Others come, many others. Will not all understand as quickly." "We know," Chen acknowledged. "But now we have hope. And maybe we have an ally who can help us show your people another way." As if to emphasize his words, long-range sensors detected more dark matter signatures approaching. But this time, they faced them not just with weapons and shields, but with a new understanding. The galaxy's species had united not just to fight, but to offer transformation instead of destruction. The real victory at Rigel 7 hadn't been proving they could destroy dark matter entities, it had been proving they could change them. And as the converted entity moved to join their fleet, Admiral Chen realized that humanity's greatest contribution to the galaxy might not be their technology or their strategies, but their persistent belief that even the most alien of enemies could become allies if shown a better path. The symphony of war was becoming a symphony of transformation. And somewhere in the vast dark between galaxies, other entities were about to learn that the species they had dismissed as prey had mastered an art far more powerful than destruction. The art of change itself. Guardians of light. The galactic core blazed with impossible light. Where once there had been darkness between the stars, Now quantum resonance fields painted space itself in colors that had no names. The combined fleet of every spacefaring species faced the largest gathering of dark matter entities ever detected, the final push of a species that had existed since the universe was young. Dr. Maya Patel stood on the bridge of the Unity, her quantum resonance algorithms running through the most powerful computer network ever created. Beside her, Katal's cybernetic systems processed battle data, while Captain Zextal commanded their converted dark matter allies. Admiral Chen sat in the command chair, watching as two fundamentally different forms of existence prepared for their final confrontation. "They're not attacking," Maya observed, studying the sensor readings. "They're waiting. They know what we offer," Chen replied. "The question is whether they'll accept it." Their converted ally, now calling itself Bridge, floated at the fleet's fore. Its massive form rippled with patterns of light and shadow as it communicated with its former kin in frequencies that existed between normal space and dark matter. "Bridge reports that the collective is divided," Katal announced, translating the quantum vibrations. "Many have observed our victories. Some wish to explore transformation. Others see it as extinction by another name." The dark matter swarm shifted, splitting into two distinct groups. The larger mass moved back, their forms rippling with what the fleet had learned to recognize as uncertainty. But the smaller group surged forward, their forms merging into entities larger than anything they'd encountered before. "They've made their choice," Chen said quietly. "Battle stations. All ships initiate Symphony Protocol." The combined fleet moved with practiced grace, ships of every species flowing into formations that would have been impossible months ago. The mechanoid vessels generated prime number frequency fields, while Tyre-Kelly ships amplified them through crystalline matrices. Human vessels created recursive patterns that bound it all together into a quantum harmony. The attacking entities struck first, launching waves of dark matter convergent energy that could have erased solar systems. But the fleet's defensive symphony caught the energy, channeled it, transformed it. Where the entities expected destruction, they found transformation. Where they sought to convert matter to their form, they found their form being offered a new way to exist. Primary entity showing signs of instability, Maya reported, her fingers dancing across control surfaces that responded to thought as much as touch. Their merger is failing under harmonic stress. "Now," Chen commanded, "full symphony, all ships." The fleet's quantum resonance reached a crescendo. Every ship, every crystal, every converted ally added their voice to a harmony that transcended normal physics. The attacking entities' forms began to unravel, not into destruction, but into possibility. One by one, the entities transformed. Some chose forms similar to Bridge, existing primarily in normal space while retaining dark matter aspects. Others found new configurations, becoming hybrids that could traverse both states of existence freely. A few even separated into smaller forms, each choosing different paths of transformation. "The remaining group is moving," Katal announced. They're requesting transformation protocols. All of them." Maya's screens filled with data as the rest of the dark matter collective made their choice. Not forced conversion, not destruction, but willing transformation. The fleet's symphony shifted from battle music to a song of change, of evolution, of growth. Hours passed as the last of the entities transformed. Where there had been a war fleet, now there was something else. A gathering of species unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Former enemies floated side by side, each changed by their contact with the other. "Bridge is transmitting again," Katal reported. They say that for billions of years, their kind knew only one way to exist. They converted other matter because they couldn't imagine matter choosing to exist differently. We taught them how to imagine." Chen smiled. Imagination, humanity's first and greatest weapon. He turned to address the Bridge crew. "Send word to the Council. The war is over. Now the real work begins." The message spread across the galaxy. On countless worlds, beings of all species celebrated not just survival, but the birth of something new. The dark matter entities, now calling themselves the Transformed, began sharing their ancient knowledge of space between spaces. The mechanoids discovered ways to transcend their purely mechanical nature using dark matter principles. The Tyre-Kali found their crystalline forms could serve as bridges between states of existence. And humanity, they had revealed their great deception only to demonstrate an even greater truth, that the strongest defense isn't superior weapons or impenetrable shields, but the ability to turn enemies into allies by showing them a better way to exist. 1 year later, Maya stood in the Quantum Observation Center of New Rigel 7. The colony had been rebuilt, not as a weapon, but as a school. In her classroom, young beings of every species, including several transformed, learned the principles of quantum harmony. The universe is change, she told her students, watching their various forms ripple with curiosity. But change doesn't have to mean destruction. Sometimes, the most powerful thing we can do is show others how to change themselves. Outside her window, ships of all species flew past, their designs now incorporating aspects of both normal space and dark matter technology. The galaxy had changed, evolved into something greater than the sum of its parts. And in the vast dark between stars, the combined fleet remained vigilant, not as warriors, but as guardians of a new age where difference wasn't a cause for fear, but an opportunity for transformation. Humanity had hidden their strength for centuries, preparing for a war. In the end, they had achieved something far greater than victory. They had shown the galaxy that the greatest power isn't the ability to destroy your enemies, but the imagination to show them a different path, and the wisdom to walk that path together. The war was over, the symphony played on, and in the harmony of transformed voices, the galaxy sang a new song of unity, of change, and of hope.